Okay, so like imagine this for a sec. You stumble across like this hidden control panel, right? But it's for your finances. And there's this dial, and it's literally labeled earning potential. What would you do?
Crank it up, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, that's kind of what we're diving into today, this whole idea of a financial thermostat. We found this video, and it claims everyone's got one.
Yeah, so this internal setting, it's like it dictates your comfort zone with money, right?
Like we all think we're calling the shots, but maybe there's this other system running in the background.
Totally. So they use this analogy of a home thermostat.
Right, I saw that.
Which I thought it's actually really clever. You set it to, say, like 70 degrees, a nice comfortable temperature. When it dips below, the heat kicks in, too warm, AC jumps in, always working to stay at that set point.
So they're saying our money works the same way. We each have a preset temperature for how much we're cool with having.
Yeah, exactly. Let's say yours is like $60,000 a year. If you're earning less, you're naturally going to hustle, right? Find ways to get back to that comfort level.
Makes sense. But okay, what happens when you go where you get a raise, you're at $75,000 now suddenly?
See, that's where it gets kind of wild. Instead of being stoked about the extra, the video claims we might actually, like, sabotage ourselves. We make decisions that bring us back down to that $60,000.
Wait, sabotage? What, like, how?
It can be subtle, right? Maybe you're not as motivated at work, you overspend on stuff you don't need, risky investments. The idea is we're wired to keep things balanced, even if it means holding ourselves back.
So our brains are trying to help by keeping us in this safe zone, but that zone's the problem.
Exactly. And a lot of that programming, the video argues, comes from how we grew up around money, you know?
Right, like if money was always tight growing up, always stressful, that could set your thermostat pretty low.
Totally. Or the opposite, right? You saw abundance, open conversations about finances. Yours might be set higher. But it's not about, like, blaming our families or anything. It's just about recognizing those invisible forces.
So if this thermostat is so ingrained, can you actually change it? Like rewrite the code?
That's the million-dollar question. And the good news is, yes, you can. But, and this is important, it's not about just copying the results of wealth. Like, buying a fancy car won't magically change your thermostat.
It's about shifting your mindset first. Like someone earning, say, $200,000 a year, they don't just spend that much. It's how they think, how they act, that often leads to those results, right?
Exactly. It's about aligning yourself with that higher frequency, so to speak. And the video talks about two tools for doing this: exposure and proximity.
Okay, now you have to tell me more about these.
Yeah.
Exposure, proximity. Sounds like we're about to crack the code here. All right, so we're back and ready to dive into these tools, right? Exposure and proximity, like how do they actually work? What's the deal?
So think of exposure kind of like leveling up your financial literacy. It's surrounding yourself with, like, the world of money, but not just the surface stuff.
Not just like those finance memes everyone loves.
Right, exactly. Ha ha ha. It's deeper. It's about really understanding how money works, the rules, the strategies, how do successful people think about it, manage it, you know?
So, yeah, okay. We're talking like actually reading books. Are there podcasts for this?
Oh, totally. Podcasts, books, maybe even some courses if you're feeling ambitious. The video actually emphasizes finding people who are already at that higher financial level, learning from them directly.
Ah, so like mentors, even
Yeah.
if it's virtual mentors. Okay. But proximity, I'm curious about that one. It sounds kind of intimidating, to be honest.
It's about normalizing a different level of, I guess, wealth in your mind, experiencing it firsthand, even small ways, you know? It breaks down these mental barriers we have.
So I don't have to be best friends with a billionaire tomorrow.
Uh-huh. No, not necessarily. But yeah, being around people who inspire you to think bigger financially, it definitely has an impact. But it's more about, I don't know, expanding your definition of normal when you think about wealth.
Okay, how do we actually do that, though?
Yeah.
Like real-life examples.
So remember that business class example from before? Obviously, not everyone's flying first class every week.
Right, uh-huh.
But it's the idea, right? Like allowing yourself to experience something outside your usual comfort zone financially.
Yeah, I'm getting you.
Yeah.
Doesn't have to be extravagant, but something that shows you a different level of, I don't know, quality, service, that kind of abundance.
Yes. Exactly. Maybe it's dinner at a really nice restaurant you've been wanting to try, or a workshop in a cool setting, or even just spending an afternoon in a nice neighborhood, you know, see what it feels like.
So it's giving your brain a taste of that lifestyle, like showing it that it's possible, even enjoyable.
Totally. And that actually connects to something else they talked about, curating your input.
Ah, yes. like a financial detox or something.
Yeah, kind of. It's about being aware of what you let into your mind, especially when it comes to money. If you're always hearing about scarcity, struggles, being around people who are, content with just getting by, it's hard to change that internal thermostat.
Because it's constantly reinforcing that idea that money is hard or wealth isn't for me.
Exactly. And it's not just the news or whatever, it's the conversations you have, what you read, even the movies you watch. Do they reinforce your current money situation, or do they push you to think bigger?
So it's like we have to be picky about our financial diet.
Yeah.
Intentionally consume things that match the reality we want.
Yes. And the good news is we actually have a lot of control over that, more than we think.
Right. We can unfollow negativity and choose to see inspiration instead.
I like it. And as you do that, your financial thermostat, it kind of naturally starts to adjust. You see new things, new opportunities, and you can create something that really aligns with what you want. It's pretty cool.
I love this concept. We've really gone deep on this whole thermostat idea, but for our listeners who are like, okay, this is great, but where do I even start? We're going to tackle that right after this. Don't go anywhere. And we are back. All right, so we've got all this knowledge about the financial thermostat, how it works, how it might be holding us back, and most importantly, how to actually change it.
And this is the exciting part. Because, understanding something is one thing, but doing something about it, that's where the magic happens. You know what I mean?
For sure. It's like, we've got all these tools now. Time to actually build something with them. So no more stalling. Let's get practical. What's, step one? If someone's listening and they're like, all right, I'm ready. What do I do today?
It doesn't have to be this massive, overwhelming thing. It's about baby steps. One little thing you can do today that, aligns with what we've been talking about. Exposure, proximity, curating your input, all that.
Okay, I like that. Small steps. Give me an example. What's something super easy anyone can do to get more exposure today?
How about this? Before you go to bed tonight, read just one article about personal finance. Or, when you're on your commute, listening to your usual podcast, swap it out. Put on one about investing or entrepreneurship.
Yeah, even just 15 minutes, it all adds up.
Exactly.
It's about sneaking it into your day.
Okay.
The proximity, that one feels a little trickier. It's not like I can just fly to Silicon Valley tomorrow.
Right. It's not about grand gestures. It's these small shifts. What if tonight, instead of ordering takeout again, you try that nice restaurant you've been curious about? Or a different coffee shop that may be a little fancier than your usual.
Oh, I see what you're saying. It doesn't even have to be that much more expensive, just a different vibe.
Exactly. It's about showing yourself that this level of, quality, it's not out of reach. It's a choice.
And the more we make those choices, the more that thermostat starts to shift. Right?
Exactly. Our financial reality, it's all about what we believe and the actions we take. So when we understand this financial thermostat and we start actually making those changes, that's when we can unlock something totally new.
So there you have it. Permission to think bigger, to expect more, and to go for it. Even just one tiny step today can make a difference.
Because really, your financial future isn't set in stone. It's being written right now by the choices you're making.
That is such a great point to end on. So that's it for this deep dive. But remember, it's not just about money. It's about designing a life you love. So keep pushing those boundaries, think big, and most importantly, keep that financial thermostat cranked up.
Until next time.